Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're talking about a medicine that's probably in your cabinet right now. It's so common, but what if I told you that for the kind of aches and pains that can just ruin your day, most of us, well, we're using it all wrong. Seriously, think about it. That stiff neck you wake up with, or that nagging ache in your lower back. If you felt that, you're not just not alone, you're part of a massive global club. It's an experience that pretty much connects all of us, but the actual scale of this problem, it is absolutely staggering. And this isn't just about you or me feeling a little sore. No, this is a huge global challenge. It puts this incredible strain on people, on families, and on our entire healthcare system. All right, let's really get into this. And look, that is not an exaggeration. When you comb through the global health data, musculoskeletal pain, the kind in our bones, muscles, ligaments, it is the #1 reason people can't work, can't hang out with friends, and just can't live their lives the way they want to. And the effects, they just ripple outwards. It's not just the feeling of pain, it's that you can't move as well. It's the days you have to take off work. And it's the massive, massive economic costs for our healthcare systems that are just trying to keep up. So how in the world do our healthcare systems even begin to cope with something this widespread? Well, the short answer is many of them are really struggling. Let's look at a real-world example just to see where the cracks are showing. Okay, so take Italy. It's a fantastic case study. Way back in 2010, they passed this really forward-thinking law to create a whole network just for pain care. Sounds great, right? But despite all those good intentions, the system today is described as being in a deep crisis. And here's the why. You've got an aging population with more chronic, complex health issues. You've got a shortage of the specialist doctors you need. The emergency rooms are totally overflowing with minor injuries, and there's just no single consistent way to treat people. It's a perfect storm that's putting the whole system under unbelievable pressure. So, faced with these massive system-wide problems, experts are starting to take a fresh look at one of the most common, most accessible medicines on the entire planet. Yeah, we all know acetaminophen, but its role is being seriously reevaluated by expert panels. They're not saying it's some kind of miracle drug, but they are saying it's a crucial first-line tool that, when we use it the right way, could be a total game changer for managing pain safely and effectively. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because how acetaminophen works is totally different from other common painkillers like NSAIDs, like ibuprofen. See, NSAIDs go to the site of the injury to fight inflammation. Acetaminophen does its work centrally, in the brain. And that one difference means it has a much, much lower risk of causing stomach, kidney, or heart problems, which makes it a way safer first choice for a lot of people, especially older or more frail patients. So how does this little pill, one we've been using for over 100 years, actually stop pain? Well, the science is honestly way cooler than you probably think. It's not nearly as simple as just blocking pain signals. Right, so unlike other drugs that are like soldiers fighting inflammation at your sprained ankle, acetaminophen is more like a skilled diplomat. It travels across the blood-brain barrier to work directly inside your brain's pain control center. And get this is the really wild part. Once it's in the brain, it gets converted into this other compound called AM404. And this molecule cleverly piggybacks onto the body's own cannabinoid system. Yep, the same system that cannabis interacts with, to hit receptors that turn down the volume on pain signals. It can even create a sense of well-being. And this diagram just illustrates it perfectly. It's not a one-trick pony. Acetaminophen has all these different ways it works. It kind of weakly inhibits some enzymes in the brain. It activates these pathways that basically tell pain signals, nope, you can't get through. And it has that whole AM404 conversion thing. It's a multi-pronged attack on pain, and it's all happening up in the brain. Okay, understanding the science is awesome, but what does this actually mean for you when you're the one in pain? Let's switch gears and look at what the experts agree on and how all this science turns into a practical guide for actually using it. So here it is, the big takeaway from the experts. A lot of the time, the problem isn't the medicine, it's us. It's how we use it. We tend to underdose or just take it at the wrong times, which leads to something they call undertreatment. And what that really means is people don't get the relief they could, and they end up thinking this stuff just doesn't work. So what is that #1 mistake, the biggest reason people write off acetaminophen? It's almost shockingly simple. We're just not taking enough of it. For an adult who's dealing with that mild to moderate musculoskeletal pain, we're talking a muscle strain, a tweaked back, the expert recommended dose is 1,000 milligrams. For most people, that's 2 extra strength pills. And you can take that dose up to 3 times a day. This around-the-clock idea is so important. It keeps a steady level of the medicine in your system for consistent relief, instead of you just waiting for the pain to get bad and then trying to chase it. But of course, good treatment always starts with a good assessment. Before you even reach for a pill, it is so important that you or your doctor understands the whole picture. Where's the pain? What does it feel like? How bad is it? And how is it messing with your life? That's the foundation for actually managing pain well. This graphic from the expert panel just pulls it all together so nicely. It's a simple little loop. First, assess the pain properly. Second, give the right dose, that's the 1,000 milligrams for adults. And third, and this is crucial, regularly check back in to make sure it's actually working. All right, so if you remember nothing else from this explainer, here's your plan. 1, for mild to moderate pain, think of acetaminophen first. 2, the effective dose is 1,000 milligrams up to 3 times a day. 3, take it on a schedule around the clock, not just when you feel the pain. And 4, remember, it's got a really good safety profile, making it a much safer choice for a lot of people, especially older adults. It's a really powerful question to end on. For a problem as huge and as complicated as musculoskeletal pain, maybe the answer isn't always some new, complex, expensive drug. By just understanding and correctly using this medicine we've had all along, maybe effective, accessible relief is a lot simpler than any of us ever imagined.